Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Untangled Vines, redefining the rules of work. I am your host, Zach Wright, founder of Grapevine Software, and today's episode is dedicated to those of you navigating the landscape of remote and flexible work. We're delving into effective communication strategies for remote teams with a focus on leveraging Grapevine's communication features to overcome these challenges. And don't worry, we're also going to add some best practices that you and your team can leverage whenever working remotely and trying to have an effective communication system. If you're interested in this topic, then let's go ahead and get started. But first, intro. All right, so we're going to be covering 4 topics today. And the first topic, we're going to go ahead and dive into it because I'm hoping that this isn't too long of an episode so you can take away everything in a short amount of time, relatively speaking. But let's go ahead and get it. Topic 1 is understanding the challenges of remote communication. We are going to start this podcast by talking about what a lot of pioneers of the future of work don't necessarily talk about as much, and that's the challenges of remote communication. Right? We understand that there are tons of benefits, but there's also challenges, and those challenges just happen to be why we're creating Grapevine. So let's talk about it. There's a landscape for remote work that are filled with nuances, from the absence of face-to-face interactions to the intricacies of coordinating across different time zones. If you've experienced these hurdles, you're not alone. Trust me. Again, that's why we're bringing Grapevine to the market, because we've experienced this in previous positions. So I'm going to highlight the specific challenges that we've seen and that we've heard for remote work communication. So the first one is communication barriers, right? Remote work often relies heavily on digital communication tools, and miscommunication can arise due to the lack of face-to-face interactions, which I'll talk about a little bit later. Different time zones, varying work hours, and a reliance on written communication can lead to misunderstandings. Now, the impact of this is decreased collaboration, potential delays in projects, and a sense of isolation among team members. So that's number 1 of the challenges. And don't worry, I'm going to get to the solutions after we talk about these in topic 2. So the second one is maintaining team connection and culture. This is a remote work challenge, right? Building and maintaining a strong team culture becomes more challenging when team members are physically dispersed, disparate, separated, different locations, whatever terminology you want to use. But there's a lack of spontaneity or spontaneous interactions, casual conversations, and shared physical space. This can impact the sense of camaraderie and unity within the team until Grapevine. The impact is reduced team cohesion, potential feelings of isolation, and challenges in fostering a positive organizational culture. So that was number 2 of the challenges. Number 3 of the challenges is work-life balance and burnout. So the boundaries between work and personal life can become blurred in remote or hybrid work setups. The flexibility of working from home can lead to overworking, making it difficult for employees to establish clear boundaries and maintain a healthy work-life balance. And the impact of that is increased stress, burnout, and potential negative effects on both physical and mental well-being. Again, we're going to talk about these things whenever we get to topic number 2. The last challenge here is technical and security concerns. So with the reliance on digital tools and virtual collaboration platforms, that introduces challenges related to technology, data security, and potential privacy issues. Connectivity issues, dependence on a stable internet connection, and the need for secure communication channels are common concerns. The impact of these challenges is that disruption in workflows, due to technical issues, potential data breaches, and increased vulnerability to cyber threats, right? Now, Grapevine, our communication software, our virtual office platform, is designed to address these challenges. That's why I was waiting to talk about the solutions here. But whether it's managing digital communication tools or bridging the gap between team members, Grapevine is here to enhance your remote communication experience, as well as connecting and building culture and more. But we're just going to focus on the communication topic here. So, as I was going through those challenges, if you were nodding your head along with these challenges, like, yep, got that one, got that one, got that one, then you're going to want to stay tuned, because I'm about to share how Grapevine can be a game changer in overcoming these hurdles and fostering effective communication in your remote work journey. But before we get there, if you're watching this on YouTube and you've experienced these challenges, drop which one, or maybe rank them. How would you rank them as we listed them? So just for this scenario, we have communication barriers, maintaining team connection and culture, work-life balance and burnout, and then technology and security concerns. I think that it's going to differ depending on people's situation and position that they're in. Like IT, I can see technology and security being a top issue. For employees, I can see work-life balance and burnout being an issue. So just let us know in the comments. Okay, now we're going to go on to topic number 2, which is unlocking Grapevine's communication features. So we are a robust tool, and we have not in total, but a portion of our tool is created to streamline communication in remote teams. And we use it internally, and we can attest to its effectiveness. And as we're building it out, we didn't just envision, okay, we think this is the issue. We had conversations with several different people in our ICP and our market, and then people outside of someone who could be our ICP at the moment, which are larger corporations and different things like that. So what we want to talk about here is the specific features that we have to overcome the challenges. So whenever we talk about the communications barrier, right? We talked about heavily relying on digital communication tools and the lack of face-to-face interaction. One thing that I want to dispel is that we have a lack of face-to-face interactions, because that's just 100% inaccurate, right? I don't know when face-to-face became only physical, but as you're watching this, this could technically be considered face-to-face. I'm talking to you through a screen, but you're seeing my face, and that's face-to-face. Now, that could also come into the form of one-on-ones or team meetings. Whenever your face is present, I got news for you. That is face-to-face interactions. So whenever we're talking about communication barriers, I think that we can eliminate that through tools like Zoom, MS Teams, Google Meet, you name the video conferencing tool. And that is overcoming the challenges of face-to-face interaction. Okay. Now, with Grapevine specifically, yes, you are going to have that functionality through integrations, but then we'll also have our own virtual break room, right? And so whenever you click on the icon, and this goes into maintaining team connection and culture as well, but whenever you click on the virtual break room icon, it will take you to a tool, a video tool that we will have, and it's going to be limited by the certain amount of number of people that can join, but that is solving two birds with one stone, right? We are providing you spontaneity where you don't have to worry about people's calendars. You click the link, it takes you to the virtual break room, and then it gives a notification to your teammates that, hey, Zach Wright has joined the break room. Would you like to join him? And if you would, you click join now. Now you two people are connecting virtually, spontaneously, right? So I think that there are some misconception whenever it comes to remote work and communication barriers, right? Now, the other portion in our Grapevine platform is Figgy Chat. That is our chat functionality. Now, this is going to live within Grapevine, and you'll be able to communicate to everybody in your organization. You'll be able to build out groups. You'll be able to upload and store your documents, your files, anything that you're exchanging there, you can save to Grapevine. And eventually, whenever we get to MVP number 2, you'll be able to save it to your My Office, which is your digital office or your digital workspace, right? Think about that streamlined workflow where now you don't have to go and search your desktop or your Google Drive or your SharePoint or anything. You could search Grapevine, the intranet, the document repository, or the chat, and you'll be able to find what you're looking for. Not only find it, you'll be able to store it. And then you'll also be able to drag your documents into Figgy Chat directly without having to navigate anywhere else other than Grapevine. That is, to us, a big differentiator and a big upgrade and an improvement for how communication works. Because now you will have those tools to increase collaboration and communication, eliminating or definitely reducing miscommunications, right? Because everybody will be updated. They'll be working on the same file. It'll be in Grapevine rather than in somebody's personal drive, which you can make your files public and private, but that's another topic. So that's what we're talking about there. So now, whenever it comes to different time zones and overcoming that challenge with Grapevine's intranet, what you have is 3 main sections where you can update the team. So one, you have the executive newsfeed, and the executive, the CEO, the C-suite leaders, or the head of departments can come into the intranet and post something that is important and share files or add a link or show images of whatever's happening, right? We're going to be at this conference. Make sure to join us. You, as a head of department, CEO, or whatever the case is, as an executive, you would go to that executive news feed instead of just having another channel that's called announcements, or instead of posting it in your culture tab, you would be able to upload that and the entire company would be able to see that. They'll get a notification in Figgy Chat. They'll get a notification on Grapevine. And then if people follow you, because we have connect with coworkers, if they follow you, they'll get that announcement as well. So that's one area, and it's a way for executives to break through the noise, and it's a way for employees to segregate what is happening from a chat to an announcement or an upload or whatever the case is. It's just declustering or decongesting the way that chat functionalities work today. Now, the other 2 sections are you have company announcements or updates. So if you have a company announcement or an update that you want to share with the team, you'll go to the announcement section, you'll add an image, a header, and then a quick description with a link that could be provided where it takes your employees to that location. And they can read the document that you posted. Maybe it's an industry update. Maybe one of your competitors just launched a new product and you want to make sure that the salespeople understand, the marketing people understand, the product people understand. Whenever they're talking to customers, they're not caught off guard because you've already posted that in the intranet and they have that update again with the notifications in Figgy Chat on the company page, as well as if you follow that person who gave the update. So that's number 2. The third one is if you have an upcoming company event. I always use the example of all hands company, right? All hands meeting. Well, now you put that in the upcoming company events using your meeting links, especially if you're remote. that's how you're going to do it. So not only do they know that the company event is coming up, it's going to be added to their calendar, and they're going to get updates and notifications for when the time comes. And they can either go to the internet and click that to join the meeting, or they can have that announcement or the notification come through and click on that directly. Okay, so let me go through, because that I don't want to go too deep into this. If you want to learn more about Grapevine, definitely reach out to me. There's a link in the description that you can schedule a demo, or you can sign up to be a beta user, which that beta user will only be available for Q1. So make sure that you sign up today if you are interested in learning more and being one of the first users of Grapevine whenever we launch in Q1 this year, 2024. Okay, so now the second challenge was maintaining team connection and culture. So I've kind of touched base on this with several different aspects within Figgy Chat, the intranet, and how we update people through notifications. Now, the other part of this, and the virtual break room, the virtual break room is going to be that camaraderie feature that a lot of people talk about missing in a remote work environment. They say that, oh, you can't just get up and go to the break room. Well, guess what? Now you don't even have to get up. You can just go to the break room through a click of the button and have a venting sesh with one of your employees. It's not recorded. It's not tracked. It's just how people can engage spontaneously and have conversations. That is also going to solve one of the biggest issues that we found whenever we were doing product validation with remote work, is that loneliness feeling, right? And now let's say that you're not an extrovert and you're not comfortable with going to the virtual break room until maybe a little bit later on. Well, we also have a community function, which is very similar to your LinkedIn newsfeed, but just for your specific company. So if you want to share something or interact with someone, you can go to the community page. And if you don't want to post anything, you can comment on somebody else's post and start to engage with everybody. And then vice versa, you can post, you can share documents about something that you're interested in. You can share photos of you and your family or your dog. It's a way to build that camaraderie within a remote work environment and create that culture, right? Share you and your family at an outing on your birthday and say, it was a great 33rd birthday, had great time celebrating with my dog and my wife and my family, and here's a picture of it. Now people are most likely going to interact with that, and you get that dopamine rush that you get whenever you post on social media, right? And not only that, more impactful is that you're creating this connection with your employees, right? Each post, each share, each comment, each like is building that culture. Okay, now the other part of this is the employee profile. So whenever we're talking about employee profiles, we're talking about similar to a Facebook profile mixed with LinkedIn, maybe mixed with an HRIS style employee profile, but better in our opinion. Obviously, we're building it, but everybody has their own employee profile. And within the employee profile, you have your title, you have your email, you have your phone number. You can select if you're in office or out of office. And then there will be a little status feature on your profile icon or your profile image where it's either green or it's gray. In Figgy Chat, you'll be able to update statuses as well. But back to employee profiles. So whenever it comes to the employee profiles, you're also going to have your skills that you put in there. So what are your top skills? Like I'm a RevOps consultant. And so I might say Salesforce, HubSpot, Demandbase, Apollo.io, like the list goes on, like outreach, blah, blah, blah. But I could put those skills in there. Now they become searchable in the entire platform, but especially in the employee directory. Underneath that, you can select whether you're remote, you're hybrid, or you're on site. You select who you report to, and then you select I'm blanking right now, the department that you're in, right? So now whenever you go to the employee profile, you'll be able to see all these things. And there's a few more things here. And I'll just run through them quick. Again, schedule a demo, or let's just have a chat and talk about Grapevine together. You have a section where you can upload your previous experience. Again, it's going to be searchable. The reason that this is important is because if you think about this, most organizations only use their employee for what they were hired for, which is perfectly fine. That's great. But think about this as a startup or a smaller company. If you have a new initiative or a project, instead of hiring somebody, what if you could explore Grapevine and see people's previous experience and bring them on board? That's a promotional opportunity or a job enrichment opportunity for that particular employee or employees, right? You could take some of them and say, hey, I want 10% of your time spent on this while you're also doing this. And if they do it well, you can reward them with bonuses or recognition, achievements, whatever the case is, right? Which is also a feature in Grapevine. So that's there too, the previous experience. And then we also have hobbies, and we have photos that you can upload where people get an idea of who you are inside the company and outside the company. Because here's a little news flash for people. Employees have a life outside of work. I know. I didn't want to be the one to I didn't want to be the one to tell you, but there's that. It's true. But the reason that this is so important to us is because I've been working 100% remote for a little while now. And one of the things that I noticed was I would get on these Zoom calls or these Google Meet calls or MS Team calls, and I would have conversations. A little bit of personality would come out from me. A little bit of personality would, come out from a colleague, but then we would go back to business, right? And so what you want to do as a remote team is make sure that you're allowing space for people to understand who they are beyond their position and what I call beyond the squares. If you're watching this on YouTube or Spotify, this is the square that I'm talking about. Let's go beyond the squares. Let's get to know who Zach is outside, right? And the good thing is that you're not requiring everybody to do this, but they share at their own leisure, right? And one of the other things that I didn't mention is you can upload a video. We encourage people to give introductions of themselves. If you think about somebody onboarding and they go to each person's employee profile, especially like the CEO or the person that they're directly reporting to or the people that they're going to be working with directly, if they could go in there and see, oh, I saw that you worked at XYZ company. I used to work there back in the day, or I knew somebody who worked there, or my wife worked there. Now you're already creating that connection that you wouldn't have before. Same thing with, oh, you like skydiving? I like skydiving. When's the last time you went? Now we're already building connections, right? People said that you couldn't build culture remotely. Lies. I'm sorry for being so blunt, but this is the truth. Like, everything that everybody is saying can't be done is doable with the right tool, with the right people, with the right leaders, with the right policies, with the right guidelines, right? I haven't used this word in this podcast yet. Intentionality. That's what you got to be. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and go to work-life balance and then technology concerns after that. So again, we're on topic 2, how Grapevine communication can help you overcome these challenges. So work-life balance, right? Now, what we want to do in the grand scheme of things is eventually integrate with tools like Calm or Headspace or BetterHelp. We want to be able to have these integrations that organizations can offer their employees a subscription to Calm, or they can provide it on their own. And they would be able to do meditation. Eventually, again, these are forward thinking statements. I'm not a public company, but I learned that from the last one. These are forward statements. Eventually, we want to be able to have different virtual break rooms. So one could be I want to vent, one could be I just want to chat, one could be I want to enter into a meditation room. The other could be I want to play games. Whatever the case is, right? That is going to be our ping pong table, but we're going to be focused on increasing or enhancing somebody's psychological well-being and physical well-being through these different outlets. So instead of telling you how we're going to overcome this challenge with Grapevine specifically right now, what I want to talk about is this is more of a culture defining moment or policy that you put into place that that your leaders and your employees will follow, right? So whenever it comes to work-life balance and burnout, if an employee is burning out, really do some digging and ask yourself, is this employee burning out because of the culture that we have, or do we not communicate effectively enough to help employees understand that they can sign off, right? The good thing with working remotely is that you almost, and I encourage this, you almost have to shift from a 9 to 5 mentality and into the world of focusing on outcomes, right? If an employee provides or produces what they are supposed to produce, then it doesn't necessarily matter the hours that they work, right? We always see those movies where coders or developers are up at 3 o'clock in the morning and they're headphones on blasting rock music or rap and they're just coding. That's okay, right? If that employee feels more comfortable working at 3 a.m. in the morning versus waking up at 9 and working till 5, then that's perfectly fine. Now, what I will say is you want to make sure that you have boundaries and guidelines in place where they understand that if this project has a due date on it, they can do it wherever they want to, however they want to, as long as they make sure that they're not delaying the project, that they're not slowing someone else down, and that they produce what they said that they were going to produce or what they were required to produce, right? So that's the thing with work-life balance. You have to allow people to work at their own leisure as long as they're providing the outputs, the outcomes. But at the same time, make sure that you have a strict policy, a strict remote work policy, which we've talked about on this podcast before, that identifies and clearly communicates what you expect of each employee. Okay. Technology and security concerns. This is one that we can talk about with Grapevine because from the very first line of code, even before that, we thought about how can we make sure that we are secure and that people's data is secure. And so as a non-technical founder, I can't go into all of the details. I can give you a couple of different things that we're talking about here. And so one is, I do think that this is maybe a little bit outdated as far as a challenge, because I do think that it is a standard and a status quo for any company, especially SaaS working on cloud, to be secure and compliant and have data protections in place. And so what I can say is that we are hosted with AWS, Amazon Web Services. And so we know that they are going to be secure. We keep up to date. We have notifications on anything that might occur over at AWS. But then we take it a step further where we do have, or we will have single sign-on. We have OAuth 2.0. We have all these other things that are in place for data security and security in general and cybersecurity to make sure that we are compliant, and not only compliant, that we are hopefully more secure than any other tool that you'll put on, right? A forward-looking statement there as well, but that is how we are building the product. If it is not secure, we do not move forward with it until we either figure out a way to be secure or we don't do it, right? So that is our commitment to our customers whenever we launch an MVP, number one, and for the longevity of our entire product. Okay, so that was topic 2, and it is kind of getting a little bit long here. So what I want to do is maybe go through topic 3 and 4 quickly, or cut one out and see if we need to do an episode on the other. So what we're going to do here is topic 3, best practices. So we're going to dive into some best practices specifically geared towards maximizing Grapevine's potential. These are going to be practical tips that align with the software capabilities, ensuring that you get the most out of it to improve your communication within your team, which I feel like we could really go through this at a high level because we just went through everything in deep detail in the previous topic. So let me just say this real quick. So whenever you're utilizing Grapevine, the goal for us is for Grapevine to be your virtual headquarters, your virtual office, your home, so to speak. As a remote organization, you don't have that physical location. So we want you to have a tool that is your own, that people can believe in and trust, and they can utilize for improved communication and collaboration, productivity, tracking performance, and then building that culture and increasing that connection. That is how we define what we're building. Now, what I will do is just kind of go over the overarching modules that we have. So we have our intranet, right? The intranet is that area that I talked about, where you have the executive news feed, you have the announcements, you have the company upcoming events. You're even tracking your birthdays, your number of employees, your different achievements. You have your employee directory where you can find anybody, and from there you can send a quick chat, you can send them an email, or you could jump on a call with them. Some of the other features that we talked about, the other module is community. That is going to be your community page, where you are going in there, you're asking questions, you're updating people on maybe your achievements, your awards. Maybe you did a LinkedIn training and now you got a certification and you want to put that on the community board so people can congratulate you, right? Then we have human resources page, which, just to be clear, this is not an HRIS tool, right? But our HR page is where the HR team will come in. They'll have their employee handbook, they'll have their different policies, they'll have required trainings, they'll have the key documents that employees need to have. And that's important because I've been in so many different organizations where HR is spread all over the place, right? The last company did a really great job, but even then, it wasn't perfect, right? I haven't been in an organization where it's been perfect in the sense of policies like PTO, when are our holidays. Those holidays can go into the company event as well, so people know that we're going to have PTO, or that we're going to have time off. These are little things that are so important to employees so they can plan around what's going on in the organization. Employee profiles we talked about, but the other modules are Figgy Chat. That is going to connect every single thing. We call it like our nucleus, because it's going to connect the intranet to the community, to the document repository, or what we call the information hub. It's going to connect you to your My Office. It's going to connect you to your department portals, which those last two are the ones that we're talking about as modules. My Office is your digital workspace, and then the department portal is where you're going to give key updates to your team. You're going to hold team meetings. You're going to store your team notes. You're going to have your key documents in there as well. What we're really doing is creating a tool for over communication, for clarity, for alignment, for management of documents, of employees, for day-to-day stuff. We're going to have KPIs and OKRs, all the good stuff, right? This is where, whenever I describe our virtual office platform to people and they say, oh, it's like a Slack, or it's like a Google Drive, or it's like a name an internet company. And I always have to say yes, and because it's not just one of those things, it's the collection of everything. So that's the best way to utilize Grapevine. All right. So that's topic number 3. I just kind of touched on it. Again, should I do a selfish plug here? If you want to learn more about Grapevine, schedule a demo with me today. All right. I'm probably going to look back at these videos and cringe, but we'll keep going here. So actually, I'm just going to go ahead and wrap it up because it's a 36-minute conversation of me just talking to you. So if you made it this far, thanks so much. But that's a wrap for today's episode on effective communication strategies for remote work. We talked about the challenges. We talked about how Grapevine can help you overcome those challenges. And we talked about the different elements of our virtual office platform. So I hope you found these insights valuable and that they inspire you to explore our Grapevine virtual office platform and see if it can elevate your remote team's communication and more. But if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to, let me do my influencer here. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Share your thoughts in the comments. And if you've tried Grapevine or if you've had a conversation with Grapevine, because you can't try it yet, it's not available, but it will be this quarter, Q1 2024. Tell us what you're excited about if you plan on using Grapevine. But thanks so much for joining me. And until next time, stay connected, stay productive, leverage the power of tools like Grapevine to make your remote work journey even more successful. Take care, everyone, and we'll see you on the next episode.